I'm a guy that's 24. Each day I build some more. I like episode 7 and episode 8. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back here with another video, and this is going to be episode 27 of the Starkiller base mock build series. We didn't have any live streams between the last update and this one, so no donors to give appreciation to, but I still do urge you guys to tune in whenever you see that notification pop up. The live streams are a great opportunity for you to not only see the mock early, but to also hang out with a bunch of boyos and talk Star Wars. Like, what more could you want than that? This week, or these 2 weeks, I feel like I got a significant amount of progress done, and you can probably tell that behind me. We have a pretty expanded hangar section that we're going to get into in a little bit. It was quite the task trying to figure out a lot of the design elements to it, but I think that I did a pretty decent job at it, and I'm not going to continue talking anymore. Let's go ahead and jump right into the update. You know, this was supposed to be one of those episodes where I kind of go step by step, taking you through each section, working on it a bit, then coming back, showing you my thought process behind the design, and then showing you step by step through the way it was going to go. But actually, like halfway through, I ended up accidentally deleting all of that footage, so I basically said, forget it, I'm just going to go ahead and finish what I decided to have planned for this episode, and then film one long kind of take for it. So hopefully you guys don't mind that too much. I am trying to make these episodes more incremental and try to walk you through the design process, but this time it just didn't really work out. I need to stop accidentally deleting things. But first thing I worked on this week was actually this section in here. If you'll notice, it is actually quite a bit taller. How much taller is it, you ask? Well, I basically just took like one of these sections right here, like one of these wall patterns, and extended it by one of those. So before it was basically just 2 of these, and now it is 3 of them. And that basically added us a third of height to it. And I think it actually looks really incredible because of that. Like when I was first kind of looking at the section that we ended with last week, I felt like it wasn't tall enough. Like if you view the film, when Rey is hanging, and you don't really see the ground, but you see, you know, a decent portion down, and you can see she's super high up. Like this goes down pretty deep, and while, you know, like if this was accurate to the film, it would have to go down significantly deeper. I still wanted to at least convey that she's pretty high up, and I think that adding that third section does that a little bit better than just having 2 of those sections stacked tall. And also what it allows me to do is have this section actually matched up with that section over there, in terms of just like having the bottom and the top be the same size. It'll make a little bit more sense once we move forward in the mock, but basically I'm gonna have to continue building this wall right here up top, which means that like I'd want them to be similar in size. I don't want one section to be much bigger than the other. It just, I don't know, it would look kind of weird to me if that were the case. But all in all, I really do like the way this looks still. I'm still in the process of covering the bottom of this with black plate. I actually did go ahead and buy a bunch of black plate to cover it, but I did get around to getting that done this episode, so that's probably something you'll see in next week's episode. But the big portion that I got done this week is this massive wall right here. I think before I get into the details on it, I just want to say I think it looks awesome. There are a few pieces that need to be substituted, like you'll see some red pieces kind of in the angles there. Those need to be changed out. I actually have an order coming tomorrow that should fix that, so you'll see those changes pretty soon. And there needs to be the quarter circle tiles at the edges of all of these. I have some, I think, on this side, actually, you can tell. So there are some in there, but I just didn't have enough to finish the entire thing off. Most of those were spent on the lights that I did on the outside of the base and the elevator sections. But before I really dive too deeply into the details on this side, I'd like to take you around to this side, because this was actually a pretty involved process and took a lot of just thinking and figuring out, like, how the heck am I going to accomplish this? The biggest like design obstacle you kind of have to get over with doing something like this is just building an angled wall and having something behind it that can actually hold it up, especially when you're building this big. Like, it's always so difficult for me to try to convey to you guys just how large these builds are through the camera. But if you look at like this, I don't know, compared to this section over here, if you see me stand next to this, this is almost as tall as me sitting on the table, and I'm 6'2". and this is almost as tall as that. So this is actually a pretty huge wall here that I had to have built and angled. So first thing I started off with was these four pillars rather, and these actually work super well. I decided to use 2x6 bricks because they have a lot of clutch power, lots of filler bricks being used throughout this whole MOC, as you guys can tell. But in order to ensure that it was completely stable, I put some Technic bricks going through it. So you'll see there's like 1x4 Technic bricks going down through the actual column, and then there's just these 1x8 and up Technic bricks on their side, and they're pinned in there, and they go all the way down to the bottom of the base plate. And that basically ensures that this thing isn't going to tip over. Like you see, I can push it and it is no issue, which is great because for a big angled wall like this, you want it to be stable. The other thing I had to make sure that I was doing correctly was actually having the wall angled at the right angle. What I actually tried to do was have it angled like this with this brick right here, the 1x2x3. And what I basically just had to do was connect first the bottom of the wall to the bottom of the base plate. And I used some hinge bricks. You can kind of see right there what I did. And I basically just built up until I found made sure the wall was flush with this angle, and then I kind of extended bricks off of the pillars to connect it with hinge plates. And it was just a bunch of trial and error really to make sure, like, once they were connected, that the angle was maintained from this to this right here. If you're wondering why it's even important to do something like that, basically because if you're thinking about this wall and like how it's going to be covered up, because obviously you don't want all this giant ugly pillar to be showing, you need like a flat wall going straight up to cover it, but on the very edge you still need an angle. And obviously, like, if I just put bricks coming off of this, they would all be angled going upward and not coming flat like this. So I decided to go with that brick to kind of be what caps it all off and ensures that it all ends up looking nice and neat and covered with no ugly filler brick being shown. And I think it actually worked out pretty well. I like the way that's looking. In future updates, we'll hopefully get more of this built up. Another thing, if you're wondering why is this light gray compared to like the dark gray that I used on the sides over here, I realized that I'm running low on dark gray brick, and I would not like to be in a position where I'm having to buy massive amounts of that on Bricklink, because basically, like, you're not going to find 2x4 or 2x6 dark gray brick on the picket brick wall anytime soon. It's just not something we can even get on the wall right now, unfortunately. So basically all the dark gray brick I have, I'm going to have to conserve probably till the end of this MOC. So I figured I have tons of light gray brick left over, may as well just use it here, especially on these outside sections where it doesn't really matter what the color is. So hopefully that will be understood by a lot of you. Hopefully you won't be an eyesore when this is all connected together, but I don't really think it will be, honestly. But back to the actual build. So yeah, once we got the angled wall kind of situated and I figured out how like long these branches need to be to connect to the wall, it was really just a matter of building up to get this wall fully complete. One of the cool things I like about it are these teeth kind of right here, these sections that stick out. Let me refocus. These sections that stick out on the side, it's actually accurate to the actual hangar in Starkiller base, so I like that. And it looks cool. It kind of gives you the idea that maybe there's like a door right here and it would like move in and out to close with the other side of the hangar. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing for them to have there. And even if it's not a door, it still just looks cool. It adds a little bit more detail to a mostly gray wall. The other parts of detail in this wall are these 1x bricks that kind of stick out here, so you can see that pattern goes all the way down to the very bottom, and I actually like that quite a bit. Once again, just for the detail it adds to it, gives it a little bit more interesting of a look visually, as opposed to just being a big gray wall. And I like the way it looks. Looks pretty nice. Down here is actually the part that I really enjoyed working on, and basically what ended up happening was I put a door here. This actually isn't a section you even see in the actual film. Like, you never see this side of the hangar down here. But I figured that there probably ought to be a door there just to give it some sort of an access point, because otherwise, like, I don't know how they access this area of the building. Other than, I think there's like maybe an elevator right here on the actual film if you look closely enough. But either way, I put the door there. I think it looks pretty good. Got a stormtrooper walking out. If you'll notice, the bottom, the floor of this is slightly covered in tiles, mostly uncovered. I actually had enough tiles to finish this, but the reason I opted not to in the meantime is because I probably gonna have some like cargo crates and just various things kind of sitting around, and I want to like make sure I figure out exactly where I want those placed so I can put like jumper plates to actually connect those two as such, before I just go ahead and start laying down tiles. So I don't want to be pulling up tiles trying to place jumper plates when I can just do it right from the beginning. So that's something I wanted to put a little bit more thought into, and just didn't get around to doing for this update. But this will be a completely black floor. One other thing you'll notice is I have these holes right here, and that is actually for lights. There are actual lights in the floor of the hangar, so those will be cool. They're actually blue lights. So I left myself basically a spot to like run a light through this, and it basically just goes all the way through the bottom of the MOC. So I'll have some wires kind of running in here through the structure of the build. So it's always nice when you can integrate lights into these things, especially little detailed lights like that. Like, I don't know, I feel like those go a long way. These sections in here, these were honestly kind of annoying to build because there were 3 of them and they're all so big. You can see they go all the way up to the top, and I was using these 1x2 tiles to cover them. I'm really just all out of 2x2 dark gray tile. I need to order some more, but that's going to take like a month to get here, and I didn't want to have to wait to cover those, so I figured why not use some of the giant bags of dark gray 1x2 tiles that I have. And I did, and it looks good. I like it especially because it's just a different pattern than just the standard flat gray look of the walls. So I think it actually was probably a benefit for me to use those pieces for that. But it just took so long to connect all of those pieces to there. Like you can imagine, just looking all the way up, that is just a bunch of 1x2 dark gray tiles. And the thing that doesn't make me super excited is I'm basically going to have to do all this work one more time for the opposite side of the hangar that's going to be basically on this side. So wish your boy luck. I'm going to be doing a lot of repetitive building, but I think once this full hangar is, you know, has both walls on either side, and especially both of these walls on either side, it's going to look so good. It's going to look so complete, and it'll really feel like Starkiller base. And that's obviously one of the main goals that I'm trying to achieve here. But really, that's what I got done this week. It was a ton of work. Like, I can't stress to you guys how many hours it took me to get all of this done, but it's looking really good. Like, you guys, I'm so happy with the way this MOC looks. I can even pick this TIE fighter up over here. Let's see if we can set it. So it like barely hangs off the side. But I think it still can sit there. But that's kind of an idea of just how giant this hangar is, you know? Like, it's huge. It's massive. It's looking really good, in my opinion. I'm super stoked to continue working on this. I hope you guys like the way this looks. I'm quite a big fan of it. And I'm also just excited to finally get those black tiles laid down to really complete the aesthetic of this. As nice as this looks, the colored plates on the bottom are kind of an eyesore, but having the TIE Fighter there, I think, adds a lot to it, and this scene is really coming together. Like I said recently, it's so fun to be working on this MOC, like this part of the MOC, because it's an interior. It's stuff I've never really gotten to build before. It's not just me building TIE fighters or standing up troops or building mountains. It's something unique to Starkiller, and I love it. I love it quite a bit. So let's go ahead and move to the end of the video. And that's going to finish up today's update, guys. I hope you enjoyed checking out the progress. Definitely let me know in the comment section what you think about Starkiller Base so far. It is just so fulfilling for me to be working on this. Like, the movie has been out for so long at this point, and just to see my vision of that MOC that I knew I wanted to build really as soon as I watched the film actually coming into fruition is just the best thing ever for me, and we're gonna keep moving forward with that. I think for the next episode, between now and then, I would like to just, you know, obviously continue working on the hangar section. I'm gonna have to make a decision. Like, I'm not sure if this week I want to work on like building the wall above this section, like building up there, or if I want to go ahead and start actually building the opposite side. I'm gonna have to think about that. It probably is best practice to just do the wall on this side, just so I know that it works, and make any changes if I have to to, as opposed to starting the second section and then not really knowing that and then having to change both sides and something ends up not working well. So we'll see. I think it probably is a better decision for me to just go ahead and finish off this section as a whole. So you guys will probably see that in the next update. I think one thing I absolutely can do is at least build a section that's supposed to be between this side and the other side. There's basically a little platform, and that's actually what the bulk of that TIE fighter is going to be sitting on. So that'll really give you a better idea of just how much space is going to be between either wall of the hangar, and I think it'll help me kind of figure out if there's enough space even to begin with for that part of the MOC. So that'll be really helpful for me. But that's really all I got for you guys this week. If you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.